Well, it's all yours, Alvin.
Okay, I gave this band 88 points, broken down as 34 for the arrangement, 37 for general performance, 8 for quality of sound, and 9 for rhythm. Again, simply because of the range of the tune. I didn't think the arranger did. He had room to do a lot with this particular arrangement, and I'm speaking just from a listening point of view. And you also have to take into consideration this is what the adjudicators, the other adjudicators, are listening for. I think the reason that he got more points for performance than the arrangement is the combination of the tassa drums and the other instruments made for a great performance. Also, I gave him 9 points in the area of the rhythm, because I think the fusing of the tassa drums and the other drums with the conventional rhythm section gave it a nice steady tempo, a nice jump to it, and this is why. The arrangement, there was some instances where he took the melody and changed it a little bit, or the theme rather, and changed it a little bit. But, it was somewhat limiting, I think, because of the choice of tune.
Under one of the subheadings of performance is creativity. Have we really had some full sense of creativity tonight?
You mean, are you talking about this last band?
Any band.
Well, I think the first two bands, because of the effects that they use, Desperados and Pan Nights, I think we had some creativity there in including the fire, the bomb, and those sort of situations.
In the general performance?
In the general performance, yes.
And those are some of the things that the judges would look for as it enhances the theme
exactly.
of a particular calypso.
Quite so, yeah. So, and, this, I think there was some effect in this band here because, as I mentioned, and I hate to be repetitive, the use of the drums, it was very, very effective. I think it gave rhythmically a real consistent tempo from beginning to end with this performance. I don't think it dropped, and I don't think it increased in terms of tempo, but it just had a nice steady flow, and it's because of the use of those drums.
Just to look at your marks so far, you have a range of about 91 to 88 so far.
Exactly.
And it might sound like your marks are very close, but if you extrapolate that by multiplying by 5,
yeah,
you would realize that you're looking at about 455 to 440, and that is quite a range for a Panorama Finals already.
Yeah, and I think in some instances, as we saw in the semifinals, some of the adjudicators were including 0.5 in some of the scores. And that can make, again, for another interesting outcome for the entire Panorama.
I think you may have to do that very shortly as the ties get a thing, and we're going to hold you to breaking some of those ties as we get on to maybe your prediction of the top 3.
Well, I think we have some of the, I would say, the more powerful bands coming later on. So I do have some room to grow.
Some room to
rather, yeah, I mean, 91 was my highest point, so I've got 9 more points to go. It is possible for a band to get 100 in this Panorama.
Of course.
So, and I can give a band 100 if I hear everything perfect.
Well, I know of 1 or 2 guys who have given 100 in festival, at least. So I don't think that it's impossible either.
No, but yes, so we just wait and see how that turns out.
Somebody may pull it out tonight.
Yeah.
Well, the band on stage, the Renegades, and I believe now that Dalton is just about ready for his interview.
Yes, thank you, Alvin. Godwin Bowen, it's nice to be back, isn't it?
I haven't been anywhere, but it's nice to be here.
Well, you were with Banbury for so many years, and then I missed you for a year or two, and then you're back here with the Skipper Bunch. Because when I heard the drums, I thought of All Stars and Curry Tabanka. And when I heard the bass, I thought of Banbury. I said, what a mixture.
Well, it's good to know that we could take your mind back to beautiful times. Yeah. Well, it's good to be here and to entertain you people, and we hope for the best.
Now, the choice of tune, how did that work with the band? I mean, Skipper Bunch has been a traditional band for so many years, and then suddenly overnight they jump into the big fray. And now a song like Dulhin could be more applicable to a traditional band sound. How did you work it with this big band, the Panorama stage?
It was relatively simple.
Julahin at the time when I was selecting songs was one of the better songs that I had at my disposal. And it is a good party song, and it presented the kind of interest that the Skipper Bunch people were sort of accustomed to. You know, young, vibrant, and energetic type of thing. So we decided to select a song. That was it.
Was it difficult to choose a Panorama song this year? There were so many good ones.
No, it wasn't really. Of course, there are good ones, and a whole lot of them. But at the time when I came here, I found just about 2 or 3 songs existing at the time, you know, released. So we took that one and we went with it.
How did you structure the Panorama piece?
The usual structure, it is basically, you could say it probably followed the jazz format where you make a statement and you improvise down the line. Same basic format, yeah.
Did you have much work to do with the drummers, the drumming, and how you incorporated that into the music?
No, not very much work because they are professionals, the guys from Barataria. They are professionals in their own right, so we got together, we decided what we want to do, and they gave me some of the best shots, and I draw from that, that is what we have, and then the sum total is the result we have now.
Finally, you know, I can't help but think that bass line that will stick with me for a long time, like an exceptional roti.
Yeah.
What did you do to the basses to make them sound so rich?
Well, I suppose lots of it have to go to the tuner. The people responsible for having the instruments properly made and tuned. And the rest is selecting a line, the right intervals that will carry the kind of message you want. The vibrate, that sort of jam vibes, no?
And that's the vibe you wanted.
That's what it's all about, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Godwin Bowen, former Ranger of Fanberry, now with the Skiffle Bunch. And you heard it. A little bit of jazz, a little bit of Curry Tobacco, a little bit of everything in this music. And we'll take you back to Alvin and Orville.
Thank you very much, dear. And, you know, it's going to be interesting when we will look at the next band, BP Renegades, and the song Ramona. So a short break. We'll be back on the Renegades and Ramona.
Ease up. What? Ease up. How? Ease up with Royal Bank's Do-It-All Ease Up Loan. That's how. Get rid of all the different payments. Credit card from this bank, overdraft from that bank, car, education or hire purchase, even loans from somewhere else. All into one easy monthly payment. So what are you going to do now? Ease up. Ease up. With Royal Do-It-All Ease Up Loan. The Royal Bank. Your way ahead.
Drop your drink if it's not what I think. They call me Fernandez Black Label. Can resist my charm. Ladies, any charm. My drink is the good stuff. My color is 1,000,000 bars of gold. My taste is a national celebration. And watch, even the rocks they pour me on are diamonds. When the people call my name, the king and queen of carnival must abdicate immediately and humbly bow to my festive inner spirit. My rhythm is bottle and silver spoon, a breakaway autopsy. Watch me, straight as you see me here, or mixing with the finest. I am Fernandez Black Label. I'm really good.
Pan Sweet Pan. Pan Sweet Pan from the Mecca of the instrument, the Grand Savannah, where we have the finals of Panorama. And with me is the man Orville Wright. Orville, who is a professor of music from the Berklee College of Music, and a man who has done a lot to introduce pan as one of the instruments at the Berklee College. And it's really a pleasure and a privilege to have you with us, Orville. And tell us a little bit about your experience of going into the Renegades yard and talking to Jit.
Well, this was quite an experience. I went there a couple of times. The first time I went, I didn't get to talk to Jit. And I think it was 2 or 3 nights ago, I went back there, you know, specifically to hear the arrangement, because Renegades, you know, they are a force to be reckoned with. And I went there and, you know, Jit was working a line, and I didn't want to interfere with his rehearsal at that particular point, but, you know, our eyes made contact, And we talked a little bit about the tune, and he was very nice to just play the arrangement so that I can hear it. And at the conclusion of the arrangement, we talked about some of the things in the arrangement, and I shared with him some of my observations in terms of what could be better. And Jet, being the humble person that he is, was very receptive to the ideas that I had to offer in terms of improving the arrangement. So
Would you like to share some of those ideas with us?
Well, certainly. There was one point where the background pans, especially the bass pans, were playing a particular line that, there wasn't clarity to the line. And I shared that with him, and we had a nice exchange in terms of ideas, and he said it may have been a possibility that some of the panmen were not playing the correct notes, because if you have a line that's very fast being played by the bass, simply because the resonance of the bass...
I'm going to ask you to hold that thought, and just taking a quick interview with Crazy, who's waving flag for this band.
Thank you, Alvin. Crazy. Crazy.
Crazy, this is...
Listen, Super Ramona and the Bomb. Which do you prefer?
Well, it was a hard choice. While we were in the studio doing it in November, I was preferring the Bomb, which I still love very much, but I didn't know that Ramona would have come on so strong.
Like Sweet Like Black Cake.
Sweet Like Black Cake, yeah, true. That's true, yeah.
You had a good year this year.
This year was a good year for me, melody-wise, in Panorama. I had a good year in Panorama, because I had 3 Panorama songs, but the band's only beat 2.
Okay, I know you got to wave the flag, and we got to listen to this music. Thank you very much, Crazy.
All right, all the best.
Well, on stage is the band, a popular band from Charlotte Street in Port of Spain, the BP Renegades, led by Andrew Beaumont, a pan's tune by Bertram Kellman. The tune of choice is Ramona, composed by Robert Greenwich and sung by Edwin Crazy Ayung. Jit Tamaro is the man at the helm for this band, arranging for many years and taking them to many Panorama victories. Tonight, he comes to the Savannah with Ramona. Here's band number 6, the BP Renegades. 6, the BP Renegades from Charlotte Street in Port of Spain. Plain Crazy's Ramona, composed by Robert Greenidge and arranged by Jid Samaro. When we return, we'll talk about their performance.
Thank you for buying this champion horse. The money will bring much happiness to the people of this town.
He's the island's champion racehorse, Ben. The money from his sale will be used to give these people clean water.
They definitely need it, Michael.
Wow, looks like the whole town turned out. Hey, guys.
Michael, Ben.
So happy to see you.
Oh, I wouldn't have missed this for the world.
And this is our horse's new owner, Mr. Baldwin.
Congratulations. We always knew this horse would be something very
With
special.
the sale of this horse, we can change our people's lives forever.
This is what the money will buy. Clean water for our town.
Your dreams are about to come true.
Why don't you take Michael and Ben to see the horse, eh?
I thought you'd never ask.
Of course. Come on, guys.
George, look out! Hey, what's the problem?
Phew, Michael, that was close.
A little too close.
The horse stolen. No!
Ben, get the jeep, right. George, get them untied. We're going after that horse box.
Michael, bring him back.
Easy as taking candy from a child.
Let's go. Ben, take the wheel. Michael, take the wheel. Try and get closer. I'm trying. Get back to George. Tell him to keep his mobile phone on. Closer. Careful, Michael.
No one's gonna catch us.
Please, wait.
I have to go.
Ben, where's the horse?
George, have you got your mobile phone?
Yes.
Wait for Michael's call. Wait, Mr. Baldwin. Michael's got an idea. George, it's Michael. Get the police to track this signal. I have to do.
Wait, Mr. Baldwin. Yes. Police. Emergency.
I have to leave.
Oh, what a gun.
I'm going, guys.
Please, just wait, Mr. Baldwin.
Here's the mobile phone. You have the right to remain silent.
Look!
Thank you, Michael. This is the very least I can reward you with.
Now, why do you think that I would want anything more than this? Let's raise our glasses to the country's finest.
We welcome you back with the news that we are live on the internet at www.trinifest.com. We'll tell you more about that later, but now it's over to Dalton.
Okay, I have Robert Allen, who's been playing with the Renegades for 32 years, and he's one of the standouts here with your other cohorts on the front line. I mean, everybody knows you and the other guys every year in the front of the band in Panorama. Now, what was the surprise? Jit always comes with a surprise on the stage in the final night. What was the surprise with Ramona tonight?
Well, actually, the surprise is the music we are accustomed playing. This year, the standard of the music was a bit higher. The only problem with this song is that the airplay that it gets over the period of time since the season starts. But after a while, people get to know the song, right? But we didn't want to go below our standards and take one of the other calypsos that, people are accustomed hearing. We wanted to take something that we could maintain our standard throughout the years.
Now, the song is so beautiful, so sweet. I mean, it is sweet, Ramona. Did you guys have problems arranging it in the old Renegade style, or how did you adapt to the sweetness of the music?
Well, actually, we didn't have no problem, because the ability of our arranger, he could take any song and make it a classic.
as far as I'm concerned. We had no problems at all. All we did, within the past rounds, we went home and did our homework. That is practice. Get it right and come back here for the final, because after this we had to come back another year again.
Now, it was so well executed. Tell us something about the drilling in a pan yard. How do you get these runs and all the other stuff that you did to contribute toward this wonderful arrangement? How do you get the performers to be exactly on time and rhythm?
Okay, actually what happens, the arranger, I am one of the section leaders, and the arranger gives each of the section leaders the music, he distributes the music, and what we do, we spread the music throughout our section, and we work with them single, separately, after we come together, and we take it down slow in its spaces so that we could get the correct phrases, and then we build it up as we go along. That's how we normally do it.
Finally, with a song like Sweet Ramona, is tempo a critical thing for the band? How you play it, how fast you play it, or how slow?
No, actually no. You see, any song you're doing, once you take the song at the record speed, I think you're right on target, right? Because you listen to the record, you must play it at that record speed. You could go one below or one above, but you must maintain the count that you take, and the speed that you take it at, you have to keep that rhythm right throughout the tune.
Thank you very much. Orville, can you amplify on that last statement?
Well, we're going to take that statement eventually, but there is a presentation being made on stage, and we'd like to take that in at this point in time. I see Pepe Francis from Ebony Steel Orchestra in London making some presentations. Here he is making a presentation to Owen Surratt, one of the past presidents of France and Trinbago.
Another past president, Mr. Melville Bryan.
I get the impression they're making presentations to past presidents of France and Trinbago, and that's Melville Bryan, one of the current executives of France and Trinbago, and a past president himself.
Patrick Arnold.
And they're up to the current president, the Patrick Arnold. There you see Pepe Francis from Ebony Steel Orchestra in London making presentations.
The longest serving member of the France and Trinbago executive, Mr. Richard Porto.
Richard Porto from the band Court Laventille Song Specialist receiving his presentation, and he has the distinction of being one of the longest serving executive members of France and Trinbago, in fact president. That brings us to the end of the presentation. Mr. Pepe Francis, in fact, one of the members of the Europe executive arm of France and Trinbago. We will be having more when we return from the Savannah on Panorama 2002.
February 2nd to February 12th. To not miss the color, the spectacle, and the music. If you can't make it to Trinidad and Tobago for Carnival this year, don't worry. You can visit us at the hot new website, www.trinifest.com.
You think I'd leave you all alone?
I'm a member of Southeast Credit Union. I took part in Kuna insurance. I had lost a family, which is my father. In 48 hours, I received a check concerning life and death, and it was a big help out to me. At the time, I will advise anyone to take part in Kuna Insurance.
Punch it with me and move your body. Sunshine snack potato chip for everybody. Sunshine snack potato chip.
Munch a potato chip from Sunshine Snacks. Take a taste trip.
Solo 20, yeah, you must agree. It's full of real big flavors, the way it should be.
I say, you want to hear something about the good, the liver, so it's time to come over to the Solo 20 youngster.
Solo 20, Solo 20, it's the one for you and me. Now these are true flavors, the way the taste should be.
Solo 20 ouncer. The 20 with plenty more taste.
Welcome back. National Panorama Finals in the Savannah, and you must be seeing the word Firestorm on the banner, and this is the first of two bands that will be playing the tune composed and sung by the original DeFoster himself, a man who was the second runner-up in the recent Pan Kaiso Finals. Congratulations, DeFoster, and I'm sure he's out there or somewhere on the track taking in all of the action of Panorama. Well, we're back, and Orville, it's that time for you to tell us about the performance of the last band.
Renegade, I gave them 89 points. And you said before this performance I may have to go back and make some adjustments. But 35 points for arrangement, 37 points for performance, 8 for the quality of sound, and 9 for the rhythm. I think this rhythm section had something really good going for it. A real consistency that, you know, probably some of the other bands didn't have. It was right there, and everything was meshed together beautifully to make for a great performance.
Okay, but let's talk a little bit about an aspect that you picked up in the Panyard and how it's related to their performance tonight.
Oh, yes, as we were saying, there was one particular section, and it certainly got cleaned up tonight, whereby we were talking about the bass fans playing a rapid line. And because of the instrument, you know, the harmonics on the instrument, you don't get that clarity in the instrument. So if you have a slow line being played by the bass hands, it's a better opportunity to get clarity than if you have a fast line being played. And, you know, I can give an example of dong, 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 dong. That's easier to project than if you have doo-goo-doo-goo-doo, doo-goo-doo-goo-doo. Because
of the overtones that you get from the
overtones,
last
yes,
note.
yes. You won't get that clarity if you have. And in this particular section, I heard it here tonight, and it certainly got cleaned up. It seems as though he may have made some adjustments with the line and taken out some notes to get some more clarity with the line.
Some people employ a quick touching of the note after playing it to
Well, yes,
dampen the effect.
that's it, yes. Well, I don't know if it can be done with a fast passage. Maybe it could be done, but sometimes you can just muffle the sound with the tip of your finger, just so that you don't get all those harmonics. Because, you know, one note is not usually one note. When you play one note, there are about 10 or 12 different other harmonic notes that are in that particular note. And if you go on a grand piano, for instance, and you just, you know, you depress one low note of the piano without actually playing the note, you know, you can hear other notes resounding from the grand piano. It doesn't happen with an upright piano that well, but with a grand piano, you do hear that. And the same thing applies for some of these instruments that we have here this evening.
Okay, and that was the assessment by our resident musicologist, Orville Wright, Chief Judge just last year, and he has judged many a Panorama. He's also worked at our music festivals, quite knowledgeable, and we are fortunate to have his adjudication, a new style of our delivery to the public tonight, and I hope they're appreciating your evaluation of the performances.
I must say that I'm enjoying this, and I think I like this better than being an adjudicator.
Well, at the end of the day, they may still see you as an adjudicator, but we will see. I'm sure Trinidad public will appreciate what you are attempting to do tonight. Well, we have got Firestorm, and again, I know that you are the Pan Kaiso Finals. I know that you've had a chance to digest this piece. Tell me what you think of this composition.
This has fire. I mean, it's Firestorm, and the way I know I saw DeFoster perform it at the Pan Kaiso Finals, and it's just, you know, it's a tune that brings out the best in the band. So I'm looking forward to what Panbury has to do with this particular tune tonight. I think, again, this has a range, a melody range that lends itself for some good arrangement by whomever the arranger is. So I think we should have a real great performance by this band here tonight.
And Panbury, one of those bands that, well, actually this band placed 11th, and we were talking about the range of marks, 440 points. But, you know, if you divide that by 5, it's 88. And 88 is not a bad score by any means.
Absolutely not. You know, one of the things that when I got introduced to Pan Trinbago almost 10 years ago, I made some recommendations, with the criteria. And one of the things that I suggested was to average these scores, because I think it's a better barometer if you can have 90 out of 100, 88 out of 100, 95 out of 100, because from the time you're in elementary school, you're dealing with 100 points, secondary school, whatever, you deal with that. So it's a better sense of where it is you can go in terms of evaluating yourself, how you can get better to get to that 100 points. But they 445 points.
When you tell a person that they made 444, somehow you don't have a sense of where you are.
Exactly.
But if you say you made 88, right away you have a feel for, you're just in touch with that 90 plus.
Exactly. So hopefully, Pan Trinbago might come around and the scoring system that they use now, they've been using it for years, and who knows, maybe sometime in the future there might be a change. But, we'll have to wait and see about that.
To go one step further.
Yeah.
Well, Panbury coming up with Firestorm almost in place now. All the fans are ready. A most appreciative crowd here, and I can tell you we've been treated to some of the best performances I have heard in a finals of a Panorama, and I think the scores are going to reflect that at the end of the day.
I think the judges, this is one instance that I can say that the judges are probably going to have a real difficult time with this. Just so that after they have made their mark, the score sheets are taken away from them, and they don't even have an opportunity to view those scores again or to make any changes or anything of the sort. So it's a pretty good system that we have here in terms of this adjudication.
We take a short break, and when we get back, we're taking a performance of Incogen Primary.
You're looking for a plan that suits a more mature lifestyle. Royal Bank Plan 55 gives you better interest rates on loans and savings. Plan 55 for the most exciting time of your life. To find out more, call or visit Royal Bank. Your way ahead.
National Carnival Bands Association Program of Events 2002. Kings semifinals and Junior Kings finalists. Tuesday, February 5th, 8 p.m., Queen's Park, Savannah, Grandstand, $40, North Stand, $30. Individuals, traditional and conventional, Wednesday, 6th February, 8 p.m., Victoria Square, general admission, $20. Queens semifinals and Junior Queens finalists, Friday, February 8th, 8 p.m., Queen's Park, Savannah, North Stand, $30, Grandstand, $40. Junior Parade of Bands, Saturday, 9th February, 8 a.m., Woodford Square to Queen's Park, Savannah, Grandstand, $30, North Stand, $20, Juniors, $5. Nostalgia, Sunday, February 10th, competition, Victoria Square, 12 noon, traditional parade, Victoria Square to Adam Smith Square, general admission, $20. Advance tickets, Parade of the Bands, the Marche Gras, available at all NP Quick Shops, Crosby's North and South, Reiner's, and Total Local City Gate.
There is a soap that washes away more than just dirt. It also washes away that unwanted fat. It's called Achilles Seaweed De-Fat Soap. For months, it has been the craze in the United States. Achilles soap not only pulls the cellulite out of the skin, it also pulls out body odors. It tones and tightens the skin. Watch the inches and fat go right down the drain with Achilles soap. Sole agent, Modern Caribbean Enterprises Limited. Phone 653-0011.
Okay, we're back, and we just want to let you know that with the kind sponsorship and with the approval of the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, there will be the Telethon for the Arts on Sunday, February 17, 2002, right here at the Grandstand, Queen's Park, Savannah. It's free to all concerned from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m., or you can call in your pledges. It will be live on Trinidad and Tobago Television, TTT. And it's in aid of all our needy artists. You know, we have lost a number of artists over the last years, and we have a number of them in need of housing, in need of surgery, in need of medical aid and assistance. And this telethon is endorsed by NCBA, TOCO, NCC, and Pan Trinbago. So it's on with the Panorama. And we're getting to the second half with band number 7, Incogen Pambury from Santa Cruz Old Road in Samoa. They are led by Richard DeCoto. Fans are tuned by Bertie Marshall and Roland Harrigan. Tune of choice is Firestorm. Winston Scarborough, the original Eposto himself. And he also rendered the tune. And Brian Villafana has been entrusted with the job of arranging this selection for the band Incogen Pambury. Here's band number 7, the Incogen Pambury. all the theatrics in the world that you could think of, and smoke and fire and flags, giving the impression of flames coming through the air. That was band number 7, the Incogen Panbury with the Fostos Firestorm.
If you're looking for a plan that suits a more mature lifestyle, Royal Bank Plan 55 gives you big discounts on selected dairy flights. Plan 55 for the most exciting time of your life. To find out more, call or visit Royal Bank. Your way ahead.
Two friends talking one day about how life evolves in so many ways. The need for financial stability, medical care, life insurance for the family. You can achieve financial freedom, flexibility with Guardian Life Revolution Series. Use together or individually. That is the strength of the Life Revolution Series.
Exclusively from Guardian Life.
Now, a panty shield especially designed for women who wear thong panties. Carefree thong with wings. So go ahead, wear today's sexy styles and still feel clean and shower fresh all day, every day.
The winning numbers in the National Lottery Online Lotto Plus draw for Saturday, February 9th, 2002 are 33, 20, 29, 4, and 25 in any order. And the Powerball number is the number 1.
And as the Incogen Panbury make their way off stage, we join Dalton for an interview with Brian Velafana, the captain and arranger of the band.
With me is Nestor Sullivan, the manager of the Incogen Panbury Steel Band. Now, Nestor, I have a question to ask you about the edge that Panbury has established over the years. I remember in the early 80s when you guys were practicing Aaron Copland's music. What was the name of that music?
Billy the Kid, yeah?
Billy the Kid. And I took an American composer by the name of John Conigliaro into the pan at about midnight that night. And he was so suffused with excitement, he couldn't believe what you guys were doing. I mean, we took him all the way back into so-called ghetto, and he couldn't believe that kind of music was coming up. Now, Goblin Bowen sort of like carried that edge through the 80s and the 90s. Now, Brian Velafana is on the scene, and you still have that edge. What has been the motivation for Panbury throughout the years?
I think it's we learn to rely on ourselves. Brian is the product of the band. He joined the band as a schoolboy in 1985, you know. He came through the ranks as a bass player, and he's now a music teacher, and he's doing a degree in music at the university, and he's constantly involved in preparing the repertoire for the band, you know. I think we have really a good repertoire that has taken us all over the world. And Brian has been winning accolades for the work he has been doing with the band for the last 4 years, you know. So we learned from the previous arranger, but we have to really look inside ourselves to take it forward because we don't have that arranger again. So what we must do, we must continue to build, we must continue to develop the whole thing. And Brian is a direct product of the band. He was the captain.
Fortunately, you still have that edge, though. Now, I noticed there are a lot of African drumming in that song, The Firestorm. And you did have a passage near the end.
Yeah, well, let me explain that. To really depict a storm, you need thunder and roughness and a certain amount of, you know. And we try to use a 12/8 kind of beat, which is more like an African rhythm, to present the theme of storm. We also use an Indian kind of rhythm to also depict a storm, you know, in different ethnic storms, more or less. And we also did it in a zouk thing, you know. So we try to introduce that into Panorama music. Normally bands would go for a Latin piece or a minor mode kind of lavway thing. But we decided to use zouk, African and Indian. Zouk is Caribbean, of course. African and Indian is the rest of the Caribbean, yeah?
What did I tell you? The band has an edge, and so does Nestor Sullivan. Back to you, Orville and Anvil.
Thank Thank you, and my apologies for saying Brian Villafana. That was in fact Nestor Sullivan, one of the stalwarts of Insurgent Hambury. And before I ask you to reveal the mark that you gave this band, talk a little bit about that 12/8 rhythm that he spoke about.
Well, you know, I heard that, and I must say that I had a little difficulty marking this band, and I'm just, you know, sharing this with our viewers, simply because there were certain things that Nestor just spoke about in terms of thunder, and there were certain passages in the arrangement where he had the bass drum playing about 3 or 4 notes, very fast passages. I mean, it was effective, but then there wasn't clarity. So I was torn a little bit with this particular arrangement. I think the 12/8, you know, the difference between a 12/8 is like a 4/4. The feel is slightly different because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're breaking each beat up into triplets, and then you know, the triplets get a little more emphasized as opposed to 4/4, which is da 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 da, where you just hear in the 1. So that is the difference between a 12/8. You know, it's the feel that is the primary difference.
I know I detected also some very, very intricate runs on the tenors.
This too, it was, I mean, the penmanship of the members of this band was very, very intriguing. When they went to the second chorus, you may have seen me just trying to beat out what it is they were playing. But in Calypso, you've got what is cut time, and you have taka 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 taka. And the frontline fans, they executed some lines there that they must have had quite a bit of section practice in order to have it that together and have it sounding as one. This again was one of the things that I was torn, you know, that really shocked me in the way, and it happened more than once in the arrangement where they had these fast passages and they were well executed, they were soft, and in some instances they were loud. Well done, very well done.
Again, I have another question. Were you always satisfied with the transition from some of the areas that he talked about?
One of the things I wrote in my little notes here was disjointed. And towards the latter part of the arrangement, and when I use the term disjointed, again for our viewers, you know, you have a vertical passage, and then you have another vertical passage that seems to just come together, and there is not a smooth transition from one passage.
And again, I must ask you to hold that thought as we join Dalton for another one of his intriguing interviews.
Thank you, Alvin. Brian Villafana and his assistant, Theo Cato, who is 23 years old, by the way. Brian, we just spoke with Nestor Sullivan, and he sort of gave us an idea of how this tune was structured regarding the different genres of storms, like the Indian storm, the African storm. Did you deliberately set out to do it that way, or did it just come to you as a pioneer vibe?
Well, we had some ideas of what we wanted to do, but as we go along, we just, new things come up, especially with the zouk. You know, it wasn't really intentional to do a zouk part, but on the night in question when I was doing the music, the vibe just hit me, and I said, let's do something from the Caribbean, zouk. And I tried to create something with the melody and create a kind of storm effect also using the sirens and things within the zouk.
When you are interpreting a song like that, what comes to your mind right off the bat?
Well, my idea of fire is a lot of notes, crescendos, you know, something raging, something really hot, burning. And so I try to get that out of using a lot of different notes and swells and that kind of thing.
And the addition of the African drums?
Well, that's to create a storm effect. Like in the Sahara Desert, you see a storm coming and a lot of dust and wind. So we have the basses and the jun rumbling within there for a thunder kind of effect.
Now, Godwin Bowen left large shoes to fill. And it seems that you are admirably trying to walk in those shoes towards success. How has it been? Has it been a void before you came to this level on a final night since his departure?
Oh, well, I've more or less been preparing since in the late 80s. You know, we had the opportunity when Bowen will just come and bring a music sheet, and sometimes we wouldn't see him for a week or two, and it was left up to me to do bass parts or whatever, fill the room with the chords, spread chords. So I more or less have been experimenting with Panorama arrangement since the 80s.
And you're carrying on the tradition because now you have an assistant in Theo Cato. Let me talk to Theo for a second. Theo, you're a young guy, 23 years old, and you're assisting Brian in a band like Panbury, which has such a big impact. I mean, in Panorama's past, you've always heard them on the drag and on the stage, and they have this big, powerful sound. What have you learned in these 23 years, or in these few years since you've adopted Panbury as your mentor and also Villafana? What have you learned so you can carry on and carry this tradition into the future?
Well, one of the main things is teamwork. Nothing can be done without having somebody there to assist you, also give you ideas. Likewise, you giving them ideas. So, it's more like a conversation in the music. So without that, you'll just be like, it's up to you and it be strenuous and the music will sound kind of different. Also, it's vibes. Once you have vibes, like how Panbury have vibes, Panbury or more or less, that's how I get into Panbury. As you said, there was only Bullchuck and I listened to them. I like how the action going, everything nice, the music is the way I like it. So I just ain't want to try to change it. I just try to continue and move on and upgrade, or you know what I mean? So,
well, I know what you mean, but I tell you, look out for Theo Cato, because at 23 years old and assisting in arrangement of a Panorama piece, who knows what's going to happen 5 years down the road with another band maybe, or even with Panbury. Back to you, Alvin.
Thank you very much, Dalton, keeping our broadcast as interesting with these fine interviews. And now let's hear what mark you actually gave to the band.
I gave this band 87, broken down into 35 for the arrangement, 36 for the performance, and 8 each for quality of sound and rhythm. To get back to what we were speaking prior to going to that interview, the note that I make disjointed, and I just want to explain that again for the viewers. And what I heard is that there was not a good coupling of these ideas that the arranger may have had at the time. And it's something that, you learn to do after a while in terms of connecting these ideas that you might have. An arranger in a conventional sense, I mean arranging for, horns and saxophones and stuff like that. Or let me say, from my point of view, whenever I have to do an arrangement, I have that whole arrangement in my head before I sit down with a pen and paper to put that arrangement on a piece of paper. Because if you write 1 or 2 choruses and you leave that, and you come back a day later or 2 or 3 hours later, your ideas are not flowing all together. And this is what I found seemed to have happened with this particular arrangement. There was not that connectivity with some of the parts in a particular part of the tune, and it really stuck out to me. And this is why, it ended up with a mark of 87.
Well, one of the traditions of steel bands, and I think this came from the early 50s and 60s, there were spies that used to go around to different steel bands to try to understand what the other bands were doing.
Yes.
And some of the arrangers would actually teach their players different parts of the arrangement without telling them how it was going to connect.
Okay.
And it therefore called for a very clever arrangement to do exactly what you're talking about, to link the whole thing in a smooth way
exactly.
At the end of the day.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, I'm aware of that situation because, last night I was in Salif, Pelham walked in the yard, and then one of the players said, "What are you doing here, boys?" So, and I know, having been at Exodus the night before, I knew that Pelham was confident that his arrangement was done, so he had nothing to kind of garner from Salif yard. But getting back to the point, you have to have that sense of connectivity when you have these ideas, and realizing too that from the standpoint of the arrangers, they never, because it's being done by rote, they don't have the opportunity to teach, 400 bars of music one time. So they would do a part, and go home and kind of think of it. And at least what I used to do is I would go home, do the arrangement, and find a way to couple the ideas together so that there is that smooth transition from one part to another part. And so this was just one little fault that I found from a musical standpoint with this particular band.
Well, we are getting on to the next band, which is Hatters from South. Talking to Earl Brooks a while ago, he sounded very, very confident about what he could do with this tune. Again, I know it's music for the soul. It offers a lot of variety for the plan arrangement. Hatters, another of the South bands preparing to perform music for the soul. Any thoughts on that?
Well, again, you know, this tune lends itself, and it's going to be very interesting to compare the arrangement that we heard before, which was by
Redemption Songsetters, which in fact put on a massive performance earlier tonight.
And may I remind our viewers that so far Redemption Songsetters on my mock adjudication score has the highest amount of points. So it's going to be interesting to see how this arrangement measures up to that particular arrangement that we heard a few bands ago.
And we should remind you, it's a mock arrangement. This is
mock adjudication.
Mock adjudication. It does not go into the panel. The real panel tonight has their own marks to put together, which we'd be anxious to hear how they view and to listen to some of these performances here today. May I ask you a question about the role of Pan in the Berkeley institution?
Well, you know, I started to teach Pan there, I think it may have been back in the 80s, and I did a bit of a barter situation. I used to arrange for a band called Modern Sound, and Boston Carnival started around, I think, 1978 or somewhere around there. And this was a band that I used to do some arranging for. And the band used the instruments, you know, for the summertime. So for September to June of the next year, they would not use it all. And I borrowed the instruments and took them to Berkeley and taught a class. Now we have Ron Reed, who is doing a steel band class there now. And I'm proud to say that we bought the instruments from Trinidad and Tobago Instruments Limited. And he has...
I want to interrupt you for a short while. We take a small commercial break, and when we come back, but we're going to talk more about the role of Pan when we get back. So.
We transform things
from one form
to another.
We transport thought from one place
to another.
We make things possible
By changing desire
into reality.
so that we can change the world for the moment,
For the better.
for good.
For you.
TSTT.
Connecting your world.
You expect guarantees to be kept. We know. Investments you make today must bear fruit tomorrow. We know. You want the flexibility to be able to grab opportunities as they arise. We know. That's why Unitrust created the Growth and Income Fund with built-in protection. Your opportunity for superior returns, unsurpassed performance, and easy access. Every step of the way. Unitrust Corporation, keeping you one step ahead.
You think I'd leave you all alone?
I didn't want to have to deal with death and so on. That was the reason for my deliberations. But eventually I got around to it. It's a move I never had regretted. 1 year after joining the plan, I lost my father. For me, with the FIP plan, it made me feel comfortable. I felt supported because I didn't have to run around, to get finances to cover this, expenses.
Solo 20, you must agree, it's full of real big
You want to hear something about the couldn't deliver, so it's time to come over to the Solo 20 youngster.
Solo 20, Solo 20, it's the one for you and me. Now these are three true flavors, the way that they should be.
Solo 20 ouncer, the 20 with plenty more taste. Go clear into red square. Do you dare? Go clear into red square. Do you dare?
A sweet, sweet melody with a rich flowing harmony. Words from the man Hollis Wright, the composer of music for the soul. And that's what we're getting ready for with the band Hatters on stage. And I can tell you that they are almost in their final position. So it won't be too long before we hear from band number 8. And, just off camera, Orville and I exchanging a thought saying it's almost like the panorama is now starting. Because we have lined up after this in position 9, 10, and 11, President Phase 2 fan group, Neil Massey, Trinidad All-Stars, and the defending champions, Exodus. Not to mention Tropical Angel House, which has been known to come here and really rock the place.
Exactly.
So, if you think you've heard it all, there's lots more to come. Hatter's getting ready to make their statement, though, and the Ranger Earl Jake Brooks, with his son Earl Brooks Jr., no doubt, in the band. And looking bigger and taller every year. He'll be in one of their frontline bands, I can assure you. And music in the background, music for the soul. This is 8 in a lineup of 12. We've already heard from Desperados, Solo Pan Nights, Redemption Songsetters from Tobago, TCS Dallas from Strawberry Road in Port of Spain, CCL Group Skiffle Bunch from San Fernando, BP Renegades from right here in Port of Spain. And the last band we heard from in position 7 was Incogen Pambury with their rendition of Firestorm. So it's on to band number 8, the Twin Hatters from Lady Hales Avenue in San Fernando to do Hollis Wright's Music for the Soul.
We have a good representation from the South in this finals here this evening.
I think we have 3 very fine bands in Hatters, Pambury, and the CCL Group Skiffle Bunch, and they really, came up here in full force, as it were, to make a statement.
All right.
Now vying for $140,000. Here's band number 8, the Hatters, from 100 Lady Hales Avenue in San Fernando, led by Steve Clark, transtuned by Lloyd Gay and Bertram Kellman. Their tune of choice, Hollis Wright, Music for the Soul, as arranged by Earl Brooks. Band number 8, the Hatters.
100 players, trademark Hatters, Music for the Soul.
Music for the soul, indeed. From Kunma Hatters, an arrangement by Earl Brooks, and happy 60th birthday to Hatters, and in fact it sounded like almost like this was a birthday party. We'll be back with more from the Savannah after this.
Two friends talking one day about how life evolves in so many ways. The need for financial stability, medical care, life insurance for the family. You can achieve financial freedom, flexibility with Guardian Life Evolution Series. Use together or individually. That is the strength of the Life Evolution Series.
Exclusively from Guardian Life. Trinidad and Tobago, get ready for the world's biggest laugh show.
The annual World Laugh Festival.
With over 100 of the biggest stars from the Caribbean and around the world. Friday, 15th Jumper Complex. Saturday, 16th Park Park Punta Pier. And Sunday, 17th Chopin Tobago.
The annual World Laugh Festival.
I generally afraid you.
Why? I can't do nothing. Your belly big, my belly big. That is mission impossible.
Coming from the U.S. of A., Susan Kennedy. Coming from Brooklyn, New York, Dr. Whitty. It's comedy, drama with Three Naders, Super P, and Ricky John. Get general admission tickets at $10 off at Reiner's Port of Spain, Crosby's North and South, Cisco Track, Curab, Total Local City Gate, Quarries, Arima, JCC Electrical, Adventure Road, Point Fortin, Petrotrin Sports Club, Broadcar Park, Point of Pierre, Central Electrical Supplies, Main Road, Montrose, Mohammed's Bookstore, Chaguanas, We Pizza, Phase 1, La Hogata, Penny Saver Supermarket, Scarborough, Cornby, and Canaan, and Pablo Supermarket, Argyle.
You cannot afford to miss
The annual World Laugh Festival and Soca Drama 2002. Ease up. What? Ease up. How? Ease up with Royal Bank's Do It All Ease Up Loan. That's how. Get rid of all the different payments. Credit card from this bank, overdraft from that bank, car, education or hire purchase, even loans from somewhere else. All into one easy monthly payment. So what are you going to do now? Ease up. Ease up. With Royal's Do It All Ease Up Loan. The Royal Bank. Your way ahead.
Now, a panty shield especially designed for women who wear thong panties. Carefree thong with wings. So go ahead, wear today's sexy styles and still feel clean and shower fresh all day, every day.
You think I'd leave you all alone?
I joined because I found the rate, the plan, and the benefits to be very good. What I didn't know was that I was going to lose my father by a violent vehicular accident within a short space of time. Having heard of his passing, I informed my credit union, and within 14 hours, I was told to collect a check at my convenience.
The final score, the time of a score, or the scorer could be your way to win.
Play away, every day away to win.
We're back live, and making their way on stage is the popular Phase 2 Pan Groove, and you can hear in the background the Do What You Want chant, Natalie York on vocals. But we'll get to that a little bit later as we talk about the last band's performance, Hatters from San Fernando.
Hatters, I gave them 86 points, broken down into 35 for arrangement, 36 for performance, 7 points for quality of sound, and 8 for rhythm. This was easy. When you think of the performance that Redemption Sound Setters did, in terms of the category for the quality of the quality of the sound, there was much more clarity with Redemption Sound Setters. Again, I found that there could have been a little bit more brilliance to bring out the frontline pans with Hatters. And I found in certain places, too, that there was a lot of repetition with this particular arrangement. Towards the ending of the arrangement, you found the same rhythmic pattern coming back for a number of times. And this, to me, took away from some of the glamour for this particular band that we just heard. So that's 86 points.
86 points. Well, I can tell you it's excitement in this Savannah right now. A multitude of supporters coming on stage with the Phase 2 Pan Group, increasing the excitement that we have already experienced in this Savannah and adding to the what we call the greatest party on earth and one of the greatest live performances outdoor of any orchestral kind of bands playing together. And if you count the number of musicians involved in this final tonight, it must be a bit of a record in itself, Orville.
Absolutely. I mean, you can feel this. You know, you have to be here to really feel the excitement that's coming on now. And this is only the beginning of it, because you have
well, a lot more to come. But we've got Dalton lined up with Will Brooks, so we don't want to miss that one. It's all yours, Dalton.
Oh, thank you, Alvin. You know, Alvin, you and Orville during the week told me that you had differing views on the arrangement style of the Hatters. And I have the horse's mouth right here. The arranger for the Hatter Steel Band, what did you set out to do? What statement did you set out to make? And how did you achieve it?
Well, the first thing I start off with is looking for the name of it. Music for the soul, you know. So, you know, you look for music that could really touch people, you know. Because music really comes from the soul, eh? And if it's sweet, it's going to touch you. And that's why I try to put out. And the players show me it, and I feel proud of it.
Now, how did you work what you just said into the music to bring out this vibrant force that we had tonight? Because I heard a South band said both South bands are performing well tonight. They're carrying the Southland banner. And so did the Tobago band. What did you do during the week? You had 2 weeks to do it, to bring this to this level on this Panorama final night.
Well, the main important thing, you drill the parts that you know that is staying in the tune. If that part might change, that's the part we have to think of. But the part that we know, we drill that more. That's what we have in this, what we're not moving. You know, so. And then what we have to put in, we're just looking. But taking out and putting in is a difficult task. You have to know how to take out and how to put it back in to make it sound as sweet as how it was, or as sweeter than how it was, you know. So,
and of course, you played with Phase 2. You played with Phase 2 for such a long time.
Oh yeah.
Being the master. What have you learned? How has he influenced you? Being a arranger for Hatters.
Well, not Bugsy alone. I have players in the band that what we lime, we talk a lot of, you know, things to laugh at, you know. And that is encouraging for me, because when you could go somewhere and meet someone and all you could laugh and talk, you know, it's important.
It's a strange way you brought that up, because I was going to end this conversation by saying, you know, we have known each other, Earl Brooks and myself, we have known each other for such a long time, and I've always thought about you as a survivor, especially after that horrendous car accident that you had that almost took your life.
Oh, yeah.
And whenever I see you, and I see you in Hatters, I always think there's hope. Wherever in the world there is hope, because you're a symbol of hope.
Well, I think it's the pan what saved me, you know.
It is, huh?
Yeah, I think it's the pan, you know. Yeah. But, well, God, you know, the boss, he's the lover, man. Because sometimes I just listen to things that I do, and I know what I do there, it's not me.
It's the master.
Yeah, it's the boss, right? Yeah.
Okay, you heard it from the master of the Hatters Steel Band, Earl Brooks Sr. Okay, Alvin?
Thank you again, and all praise to Earl Brooks for a fine performance. Humble man, does his work quietly, accepts any result and just keeps on coming back another time. Any comments on that interview with Bill Brooks?
Well, you know, he seems like the type of individual you can approach and give some ideas, and he will take it to heart. And he's one of the arrangers that I don't know that probably I would like to get to know, to just share some ideas with, because, you know, there's a lot of reciprocity with this process. You know, music, you never stop learning. Excuse me. So an individual like that, I'd be happy to share some of my thoughts with him so that, you know, it can improve the overall status of the band in general.
Well, it's not on your screen right now, but I can tell you, Phase 2 is cutting a really eerie picture as they have the fluorescent paint on their banners on screen right now, and we're getting a really fabulous look at the band in the dark as the greens and the purples reflect with what little light there is on the stage. And this is probably setting the tone for what they want to do tonight at Do What You Want. And while we're on that, Do What You Want, again, we have the benefit of Orville going into the Panyard, listening, talking to Bugsy, getting inside the meat of the rhythm section of this band and trying to come to terms with what he was hearing.
Well, when I heard Phase 2 of the semifinals, I was impressed. And with the 2 weeks that they had to prepare for the finals, I knew that Bugsy was going to go and make some changes. And I think I was in there last night before I ended up in Starless Yard. And he has totally revamped this entire arrangement. He has put some things in. There's an interesting passage towards the end where he has the frontline pan doing a nice, short, repetitive phrase. And I think the crowd and the viewers are going to be in for a thrill here this evening because the master has come out. You know, again, having listened to Bugsy the last couple of years, I think the man is so far advanced. You know, he fuses this contemporary sort of arranging and with a classical approach, because the climax of his arrangement last year really brought goose pimples to me because of what he did. And you know, he's just a great individual, and his music, you know, is just going to come out here in this performance, I think.
Okay, although I've heard it expressed by some people that sometimes, while the arrangement may be relatively simpler, and I say relatively with caution, at the preliminary stage, one wonders when he has injected so much more, can it be assimilated in one hearing by the adjudication hidden panel?
You're putting me on the spot here.
That's my job.
I can hear it. I cannot speak for the other adjudicators. You know, it is hoped that they would be able to hear that because, again, I recall, you know, 1992 when I came back here after having not heard Carnival Panorama for many years. You know I heard differences in the arrangement from the semifinals to the finals. And, you know, if you have, as a good adjudicator, you should have a certain amount of retention so that you can hear something. And if you put that to work when you hear a different piece of music, you ought to recognize that something has changed. So hopefully all the adjudicators are hearing that changes have been made in these arrangements tonight.
Someone has also described Bugsy as a guy who's putting down music like layers of paint on a canvas, so that sometimes you may even hear him play a tenor or the verse on top of the chorus and mesh between the verse and the chorus his own chords that would match both parts. I've heard him do that in a previous arrangement.
Yeah, you know, Bugsy has a skill, and Bugsy has a...
We're picking up some disturbance there, but maybe I can do a minor adjustment for you so that it doesn't interfere with you.
Okay, yeah, Bugsy is such a phenomenal individual, and this is an innate skill that he has, that he just comes up with these things. And somehow or the other, he has that ability to fuse these things together so that they make musical sense. You know, he is, to me, a genius at this thing.
I heard you mention once in one of his introductions, Boogsy's not supposed to know this. This is like 14th century classical music.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I don't know where he gets these ideas from. I mean, I haven't talked to him in terms of what he listens to or how he listens or anything of the sort. I know my colleague Ron Reed and I have talked, you know, many times about Boogsy and his skill of arranging, and we thought as to whether or not if we were to try to teach him music, what would that do to him? And it's, you know, we couldn't figure it out. I mean, I approached him last week and I said that his Rainforest piece, that I would like to score it for a full orchestra, and he said, man, no, go ahead. So, I mean, and he's that type of individual that you can just approach and get all these ideas and exchange ideas from. So, I mean, he's a very brilliant individual.
I agree with you 100%, yeah. And, well, we're looking at band number 9. The Petrotrin plays a two-pan grove, a band that has come out of a breakaway from the band Starlift. And for years, they've depended, and reliably so, on the man Len Boogsy Sharp for his compositions, for his arrangement. This year, he's come up with a fine melody in Do What You Want, and lyrics were put together by Anthony Lexo Alexis, and they found no other person than Natalie York, a fine singer who has sung backup for many Calypsonians in this country. Very, very fine singer, and she put the vocals on Do What You Want. So it's band number 9, Petrotrin Phase 2 Pan Groove of 13 Hamilton Street in Woodbrook, led by Anthony Gomez, pants tuned by Lincoln Noel and Bertram Kellman. They will play Do What You Want. Music by Len Boogsy Sharp, lyrics by Anthony Lexo Alexis, sung by Natalie York. Here's Len Boogsy Sharp's arrangement of his own Do What You Want. and gentlemen, we have just witnessed a performance equal to some of the best we've seen in the past. I dare say that Precision Phase 2 Pan Grove, conducted by Len Muggsy Sharp, the arranger for the band, and what an ending. Do what you want, and he certainly did what he wanted tonight. We'll talk about it in a while.
The Corner Billiards and Sports Cafe, Eleanor Street, Chaborn, is fully air-conditioned and equipped with 10-drop pocket pool tables, miniature football and air hockey games for your enjoyment. Now at Joseph's, you can reserve your pool tables to your convenience. Telephone 671-1283.
Drop your drink if it's not what I think. They call me Fernandez Black Label. Can resist my charm. Ladies, honey charm, my drink is the good stuff. My color is 1,000,000 bars of gold. My taste is a national celebration. And watch, even the rocks they pour me on are diamonds. When the people call my name, the king and queen of carnival must abdicate immediately and humbly bow to my festive inner spirit. My rhythm is bottle and silver spoon, a breakaway autopsy. Watch me, straight as you see me here, or mixing with the finest. I am Fernandez Black Label. I'm really good.
You expect guarantees to be kept. We know. Investments you make today must bear fruit tomorrow. We know. You want the flexibility to be able to grab opportunities as they arise. We know. That's why Unitrust created the Growth and Income Fund with built-in protection. Your opportunity for superior returns, unsurpassed performance, and easy access. Every step of the way. Unitrust Corporation, keeping you one step ahead.
The annual World Laugh Festival. It's the biggest laugh show in the world. When Carnival is over, everybody is headed to one great event, and Soca Drama 2002, with over 100 of the biggest stars from the Caribbean and around the world. Friday, 15th February, Jean Fair Complex. Saturday, 16th, World Car Park, Point of Play, 8:30 p.m. And Sunday, 17th, Shore Park, Tobago, 8 p.m. Coming from the U.S. of A, Susan Kennedy. Coming from Brooklyn, New York, Dr. Whitty. It's comedy, drama with Sweeney Naders, Super P, and Ricky Jai. And the best comedians in the Caribbean.
You picked up all them clothes, you pick up the clothes, my favorite outfit.
Yeah, what's your favorite outfit? And I was even going on, what's your favorite underwear? Because I know you like to wear it.
Brangalang, Tommy Joseph, John Agitation, Donna Haddad, Bill Truckman, Damian Melville, Louis Antoine, Beulah, Larry Joseph, and Rachel Price. With more laughter from the best of Yangertown Comedy Kaiso 10.
Miss Hard, I'll be so sorry to come back here.
You didn't have a choice to deport you? And Soca Drama with Sugar Aloe, Baron, and the Pink Panther. Get general admission tickets at $10 off.
You cannot afford to miss
the annual World Laugh Festival and Soca Drama 2002.
Dice Rum, strike gold with Eldorado Rum. Enter the Eldorado Rum Gold Rush and win $8,000 in jewelry from King's Jewelry World or one of 10 Eldorado Rum hampers every month. Winning is easy. An entry form and a specially stickered bottle cap from either Eldorado Golden Rum or Eldorado White Rum is all you need. Then deposit your entries into entry boxes at leading supermarkets and bars. Check press for entry forms and details and go for gold with Eldorado Rum. You don't have to wait to play.
Cash for playing every day. Cash for,
Bunker bus, we bust. No more waiting, no delay. Bust the bus and win every day.
Cash for,
Bunker bus, we bust.
Win on Monday, win on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Numbers calling every day. You don't have to wait to play. Cash for,
Bunker bus, we bust.
Cash for,
Bust the bus every day.
Ease up. What? Ease up. How? Ease up with Royal Bank's Do-It-All Ease Up Loan. That's how. Get rid of all the different payments. Credit card from this bank, overdraft from that bank, car, education or hire purchase, even loans from somewhere else. All into one easy monthly payment. So what are you going to do now? Ease up. Ease up. With Royal's Do-It-All Ease Up Loan. The Royal Bank. your way ahead.
Cheers to that natural, exhilarating taste of Solo Apple J and Solo Pear drink, made from nature-fresh apple and pear juice, with that rich, full taste, fresh as the day fruits were picked. So refreshing and pure, with lots of vitamin C, no artificial coloring, flavoring, or preservatives. Pasteurized to retain that invigorating, fresh from nature taste. Enjoy Solo Apple J and Solo Pear drink every day. It's only natural.
Thank you very much. With me is Len Bugsy Sharp, and I have two other bandmates, but we'll get to them after we talk with Bugsy. Now, Bugsy, I bet you didn't realize that you composed that song in my home. In Miami several years ago.
Yeah, that's true. Now, well, it's a new one. It's a new thing. I didn't, you know.
It was.
Yeah, it's a different song.
Different song.
But I had a song with that name,
Oh,
Do What You
okay.
Want, in your home some years ago.
Right.
But it's a different song. Myself and Anthony Lexo Alexis.
Right.
Both of us write this song.
Okay. Was it me or was I hearing things? Did you end this song with in a minor key?
Yes. Well, the end of the last piece of the song is a major. But we went to the minor and build on that. You know, with all the excitement and action and things happening down there. You know?
And I guess this is part of what you're saying, do what you want.
Yeah, do what you want. You can hear a song at the end, everybody just doing what they want.
Now, you have had a couple of weeks to redo this song. And I know you've been busy working on the bomb and other aspects of your carnival repertoire. But having so much time to complete this music, do you think the judges, you have given the judges what they want, or do you think you have given them headaches?
Listen, I mean, that's a tough question, but I just play music to the people, and what the judges say is final, you know? I just want to say something. Mommy, if you're watching this, I love you, darling, right? Yeah.
All right, yeah, but you play to win, though.
Yeah, I play to win. Everybody come out to win. You know, I mean, to reach here on final night, every band is a winner.
Yeah.
You know, and my performance, I feel good about the players. They perform very well. What I asked them to do, they have done it.
Briefly, break it down on how you structured this piece of music.
A long story, you know. But, yeah, I try to come up with a different structure. If you notice, like, we start from the top of the tune, right? Introduction, first price, chorus price. We go into intermediate part, what is part of the song. Then we went into the verse solo. Funny verse solo, we went into a chorus solo, right? Then we went into a jam part, what the people call Montono. It's a jam, right? From the jam, we went and make a change key. We did a lift the band up, and then go into a change key. Then we went to the second key. When we crossed the second key solo, we went into our mind and take it off from the height.
I mean, you had a crowd going, and you had us eating out of your hands. Yeah, thank you very much, Len Bugsy Sharp. Okay, let me talk to some of your bandmates. And we have, on my left, this lady from England, and on my right is this young man from Miami. Now, what's your name?
Wendy Brown.
Wendy Brown, and what part of England are you from?
I'm from the northeast, Newcastle.
Now, I heard that you hadn't learned to play band with a Caribbean group. You learned to play band in an all-white school.
Yeah, with a whole lot of Geordies. Yeah, all white.
And what was your first interaction with people of the Caribbean culture as far as band is concerned?
Well, it wasn't until after I'd played for about 4 years and I joined Ebony Steel Band in London and played with them for Notting Hill Carnival and London Panorama.
Now, we were talking in the yard a couple of nights, and you were talking about the difference between playing by rote and with a music score. I mean, you don't think that's applicable here in this country, where you have a 10-minute piece, and the arranger has to keep adding and subtracting from the music.
Yeah.
Well, what's your take on that?
Well, I think that it's appropriate where Panorama is concerned, but it would be good, I think, for the stateside players if they could also learn the scales and learn sort of to read music, and then they have a better understanding of the music itself, and it wouldn't just be learning it parrot fashion, if you like. It's appropriate here completely, but if we want to improve as musicians as well, not just band players, then we need to learn the instrument like other people learn instruments and learn the theory as well.
I couldn't have said it better. Thank you very much, Wendy, and good luck during the carnival. Thank you. And now we have Kendall Williams, and you're from Miami?
Yes.
And you attend what school?
Palmetto High School.
Now you're 15 years old. I want to know, why are you out of school for 2 weeks?
Well, I love to play pan.
Now, what do you tell your instructors in school? I mean, that you come down here for an educational thing, or what do you, is it music oriented?
No, not really.
Well, is the pan your advice? What is it that brings you down here?
I guess the love of the pan.
But how do you get it past your instructors? I mean, you can't be out of school for 2 weeks without giving them a reason.
Yeah, I know. I just tell them that it's a family emergency.
Every year?
No, make up different things.
And this is what, your third year with Phase 2?
Yes.
Now, what have you, I know you've been playing the pan since a youngster in Miami, and your father is an old Desperados man. Your mother too. And you play with Phase 2. Is there any kind of division in the house as to who is better?
No, not really.
But do you like Phase 2, of course?
Yeah.
And what else do you pick up in the pan yard that you can take back to the States as far as your friends in school and the music are concerned?
Technique and pan vibes.
What do you plan to do later on in life after you graduate?
Arrange for a big steel band.
Here in Trinidad?
Yes.
Big shoes, my man. Thank you very much, Kendall.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, back to Alvin and Orville.
And Dalton, you must have put that boy on the spot, because we have people logging on all over the world on www.trinifest.com. Let's hope these Miami people are not logged on right now. And for those of you who haven't got on yet, let me just spell that out for you. TRINIFEST, Trinifest, www.trinifest.com, all lowercase. And you can see Panorama live on the net. And Orville, well, I've been waiting with bated breath. I have been waiting with bated breath to hear what mark would you have given that performance?
Well, it's not what a mark I would have given. I gave them 96 points.
Wow.
And, there are some more bands to come, so I'm leaving room in case there's a band better than Bugsy. But, to piggyback on some of the things that Bugsy was talking about, before he played, I talked about the classical approaches that he has to his arrangement. And when he talked about that minor, there was a part where he went to the flatted sixth of the chord. He was in the key of F, and then he went into the key of D flat. And he used that sort of, that classical terminology there, classical approach, exceptionally well in the arrangement. And the motif that he used to climax in some of the tunes, there was a part where the background pans just laid out, and when you hear a particular rhythm in one meter, it sounded as though it was in another meter, but it really was not in another meter, and that is the genius behind Bugsy in terms of his arrangement. One of the things that was really stood out was the clarity of the bass pans and the frontline pans. We had talked about this earlier on, and as an arranger, you have to have inactivity going against activity, and that is what he was able to